Hi, I'm Jay Elder from Olympians for Smart Development and Livable Neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods are the heart of our community. And lately, that heart has been threatened by density enthusiasts who would really prefer to pack our neighborhoods with large multifamily buildings. In other cities where this has been tried, it does nothing to reduce rents for that least wealthy half of our population that really desperately needs affordable housing. We're committed to making sure our neighborhoods continue to be welcoming to a variety of residents, and also to maintain a sustainable and livable environment for all people who call Olympia home. Olympia's single-family neighborhoods are a major reason why people enjoy living here. Freestanding homes, designed to serve one family, are the most common dwelling in these neighborhoods, but manufactured homes, tiny houses, ADUs, cottages, and townhouses, along with some duplexes, have also been permitted here for decades. Many cities across the nation are now focusing on increasing the density of neighborhoods with infill. Infill means adding new housing to a neighborhood that already exists. Infill puts more housing and people into smaller and smaller spaces. But infill and increased density aren't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, many of our neighborhoods have housing densities below their limits. Infill allows our streets, utilities, and transit to be used to their full capacity, reducing costs per living space. It increases the city's tax base, allowing more parks and facilities. One method of infill would be to incentivize building new housing on empty lots, or adding ADUs to the backyards of houses. This wouldn't require a zoning change. The assets people desire in single-family neighborhoods wouldn't change much either. Assets like personal space, sunlight, night darkness, easy parking, quiet, and long-term neighbors. But some cities across the country are taking a more radical infill approach, eliminating single-family zoning altogether and approving very large multifamily dwellings in their neighborhoods. Why? Well, to quickly increase housing density in their neighborhoods, to encourage new construction there with building types large enough to interest investors, and to increase their city tax base. But there's some big downsides to this plan. Examined more closely, some of its claimed benefits don't pan out where it's been tried. Developers and civic leaders tout higher density as lowering housing costs and increasing quality of life, especially for lower-income residents. Experience says the opposite. Cities like Seattle have increased density only to find it gentrifies neighborhoods and causes prices to soar. Do you know of anybody who's moved to Seattle for more affordable housing? Increasing density is a big deal, but it can be done right. More residents do bring more traffic, more 911 calls, more kids in the classrooms, scarcer parking. None of those things are necessarily bad if resources are developed to handle the increased demand effectively. Density's impacts must be carefully considered and mitigated, with input welcomed from residents who want their neighborhoods to be just as livable for others as it is for them. That's where we come in, because the city's approach has been anything but inclusive or thoughtful. Olympians for Smart Development and Livable Neighborhoods believes major changes in city policy deserve maximum public input. Unfortunately, the City Council disagreed.
These homes should be legal. I understand the concerns around local control. However, there are times when the state must intervene to address a crisis, like with immunizations. People want to make medical decisions for their families. However, we've seen outbreaks of preventable diseases, so the state intervened with the immunization mandates. Similarly, some cities want to be in full control of how they are designed. If every city was working to address the housing shortage, I would agree, but that is not the case.
Over the past 4 years, our City Council has pursued a fast-track path to increase density called Missing Middle. This plan embraced the myth that unfettered development in neighborhoods would ease the housing crunch and create affordability with no ill effects at all. In practice, the plan would target our older, denser, diverse neighborhoods for densification and leave most Olympia suburbs unaffected. Missing Middle, a plan that was found to be illegal by the Washington Growth Management Hearings Board, was intentionally under-advertised by the city in hopes that it would be passed before anyone was wiser. Even though we can look north to see the negative impacts large multifamily infill buildings have on neighborhoods in Seattle, Olympia's leaders still want to repeat that process here without hearing from the public in good faith. Recently, despite the pandemic, the city has again tried to fast-track unconventional infill with the Housing Options Plan. It issued a determination of non-significance for this unfinished plan, saying it would magically have no impacts. No public advertisement of this new housing plan was made. Unless a citizen found a certain city webpage, they would have no idea a new housing plan was in the making. Only people who signed up for updates were allowed emailed comments. As for local input, this is how density proponents in our legislature, at the request of the Olympia Planning Department, view public process. Our own city council members imply residents who favor responsible growth are NIMBYs or malcontents. Wanting future neighbors to have a great quality of life in a livable neighborhood is portrayed as selfish. But attacking those who want the best for our new neighbors is a lazy way of avoiding the issue at hand, growing responsibly and ensuring every neighborhood is livable. One council member has stated that the public shouldn't be involved in something as complex as zoning and planning. The issue isn't whether we want new neighbors. It's about wanting neighborhoods that sustainably work for every resident. Fast-tracked rules and unfettered development have a poor track record in that department. Olympians for Smart Development and Livable Neighborhoods will use this channel to examine issues related to fast-tracked multifamily infill in more depth. We'll always tell you where we get our information. Known impacts of this type of development will be explored, including housing affordability, property taxes, traffic and parking, our educational system, all of which contribute to neighborhoods' livability. We hope you'll take an active role in helping your neighbors grow responsibly. I invite you to visit our website, densitydoneright.org, to learn more about this complicated issue, which will affect our city for generations to come. Let's work together and welcome new neighbors to well-planned neighborhoods that are sustainable and enjoyable for all future residents. Thank you.